Hey guys, Jam here. In today's video, I'm going to be kit bashing a squat. Specifically, a Necromunda Bounty Hunter squat, or a hired gun. Now, to get straight into it, the first place you got to go with any sort of squat conversion is the Age of Sigmar Kharadron Overlords. I mean, they basically are GW's answer to squats. And in this case, I'm just using the standard Arcanaut Company, I think that's what they're called. Just a standard kind of foot troops. And yeah, that whole line really is, like I said, perfect for squats if you want to make a whole army. You know, maybe kit them out with some Astra Militarum weaponry, and yeah, you got a pretty good army right there. Now, while I'm busy cleaning this model down and stuff, you can see in the background I've got various bits and pieces from different kits, which I'll go through later. But as always with my Necromunda conversions, I don't really know much about the rules and the kind of loadouts and weaponry the guys can have. So I'm actually just going to replicate what Forge World sells. So they actually have a Squat Bounty Hunter on there, and he's holding a bolt gun and a power hammer, or thunder hammer, whatever it is called in Necromunda. So that's basically the loadout I'm going to be going for. Now, one of the first things we want to do to give this guy a bit more of a 40k future kind of vibe is we're going to need some sort of like techie looking backpack. And luckily I had one of these Adeptus Mechanicus backpacks lying around, which fits pretty much perfect. It's got the little camera lens kind of thing on there, loads of little bags and pouches, something you'd really imagine a bounty hunter would have on them. And all I do for that backpack right now is cut the weird kind of dangly cable thing it has, just slicing that off because we don't really want that there for now. And to get that backpack to be able to fit nice and comfortably on the back, we have to cut this weird little peg thing off that the Kharadron Overlords have, because they normally also have little power supplies that rest on their back / shoulders, and we don't need that, so we're just going to snip that off and kind of smooth it out with our hobby knives. Now for the next step, before we start gluing everything together, I just want to kind of prep everything. So I needed a bolt gun, and now I've got this kind of Space Wolfy one without a hand grip on and stuff from the Grey Hunters kit. And I thought this would be perfect because it's got kind of runes on and stuff like that, which is kind of perfect for dwarf squat kind of dudes. And then I just picked any of the kind of pistol arms from the Arcanaut Company box, just in the kind of position that I wanted. There's loads of selections and choices you can pick from. And I just started snipping the top of the pistol away, keeping the hand grip and the actual hand as well, so the bolter can go on top of it in a minute. So I used my clippers to cut away the bulk of it. And then when we get close to the hand, I'll start going in with my hobby knife just to make sure we don't cut too much away, keep it nice and smooth, get a nice flat surface for that bolter to get on. And I just kept kind of dry fitting the arm and the bolter and stuff like that to make sure it all fits together nicely. And as you can see here, I've actually got a plaster on now because I sliced my finger open. I actually recorded this video quite a few months back. Wasn't going to release it, but you know, I just decided now to do it, and yeah. There was a new hobby knife at the time, so it was pretty sharp. And just before gluing those two parts together, I didn't want the bolter to look too Space Wolfy, so I gently cut that kind of rune stone off the end of the bolter, and also cut the kind of wolf head, that's the iron sight for the Space Wolf bolter, because everything has to have a wolf on it, I guess. But I made sure to leave a bit of a curve on the end, so it looks like it's got a bit of an iron sight still available there, but yeah, it's just not a wolf head, which is a little bit silly. And there we have it. The gun is completed now, and there was a bit of a gap between the hand and the bolter, because obviously it's two very different kits, but nothing, a little bit of super glue added in there doesn't cure, just kind of melts the seam together a bit more. Now while we're waiting for that to dry, I got a right hand arm from the Arcanaut Company box, and in this case I just sliced off the hand completely, because we've got a little power hammer kind of thing we're going to use that's already got a hand attached to it, so we don't need that. Just snip that off real quick with your hobby knife, and that's it. And then I've got this hand / thunder hammer kind of thing. I think it's from the older Chaos Warrior kit from the Age of Sigmar line, and we just do the opposite side. Let's cut the arm off and keep the hand and the hammer. Now, to be perfectly honest, I'm not really sure if this was the right hammer to use. It doesn't quite have a futuristic look to it. Maybe if I paint like some power glow in the future, it'll look a little bit better. But for now, all I do is I snip off the spike on the front of the hammer, because I didn't feel like that quite fit. I keep the rest of the spikes. I just remove the one from the front with the hobby knife and use the hobby knife as well to smooth it off again to make it nice and flat. And as always, I do a bit of dry fitting between the two parts, making sure that they connect really nicely and flush. If not, I'll go back and forth, kind of snipping bits, filing bits down until it fits really nicely. And there we have both weapon arms attached now. Once again, this is like not the most exciting kind of conversion kit bash I've ever done. The pose is pretty basic, the weapons aren't amazing, but I really like the idea of having a little bounty hunter squad running along with my Orlok gang in Necromunda. But yeah, let's carry on with the next stage, which is the head. Now I kind of wanted to replicate the head that we saw in the Forge World version. He's kind of got a half helmet, he's wearing some goggles with his beard hanging out. I feel like it has a slight more futuristic kind of vibe to it. Now I happen to have the old school dwarves, I think they are known as Dispossessed now in Age of Sigmar. And I can't remember what the name is now. The big like helicopter thing that they have? I should probably have looked this up before recording. But the pilot in there's got quite a few heads with like helmets and goggles and stuff. So I picked this one here. I thought it was perfect. I really liked the look of it. But the only problem is it didn't really fit. It didn't have like a little ball point kind of thing for it to fit into the neck joint. So I quickly rolled up a little bit of green stuff. Just a really small amount. Stuffed it in there where the little joint should be. Making sure it's not spilling out the edges or anything like that. Then I squeezed the head in there to make sure like it actually, pushes the head out. Everything's in a good place. And once I got that right, before super gluing it into place, one thing I wasn't too sure about with the helmet is kind of got this weird shark fin kind of thing. So I actually sliced that down with my hobby knife just to make it like a smooth, flat bit of metal around the helmet instead of a fin. I feel like that gave it a bit more of a futuristic look than, like I said, like a weird shark fin vibe kind of going on. And once that was done, like I said, I just chucked a bit of super glue on there, stuck the head into the position that I wanted, and then I just went around with a damp toothpick, making sure that none of the green stuff is like poking out. It's all kind of smoothed around and like hidden underneath the neck. And yeah, once you see it at the end of the video, you can't really notice it at all, to be honest. Then when I was coming up to gluing the backpack on, I kind of realized it wasn't fitting quite as flush as I would like. So I got my hobby knife out and I just slowly kind of started flattening the back a little bit. And I just kept kind of doing that once again, like I always say, dry fitting, cutting a little bit more dry fitting. And that's pretty much the number one thing to do when you're doing conversions like this, do little bits at a time so you don't make any mistakes. And as you can see, the backpack now is super flush. It's looking good, looks natural, looks like it's meant to be there. And it's really tying this model together, really giving that futuristic vibe now. Now going back to the hammer, like I previously said, I didn't really feel like it had a futuristic like powered weapon kind of vibe. So I thought it needed a bit of like cabling or something like that. So I scrounged through my bits box and once again ended up with an AdMech kind of bitch. It's a little robotic arm with a bit of cabling underneath, and it was pretty much perfect. So I just sliced that off with my hobby knife, trying to keep it intact as much as possible. And yeah, I just kind of glued that near the hammerhead and onto the shaft so it kind of looks like the power's going into the top of the weapon. And that was just a really simple touch, and later maybe we can add some more glow effects and stuff like that if we wanted to. Now some of the final kind of accessory steps here just to give them a tiny bit more flavor. Firstly, I got some grenades. I think they're from some sort of Space Marine kit, I'm not really sure. And I glued that to his kind of belt buckle strap kind of thing. Once again, kind of referring back to the Forge World version where you had those kind of grenades and also giving it more of that 40k vibe. Now some of the final things I do here is I got some little pouches and stuff like that from the Primaris Intercessors kit. I got one small one, I glued that into the middle of the backpack, just bulking him out, giving him a bit more of like a bounty hunter carrying around utensils and ammunition and stuff. And I take a slightly bigger pouch and I glue that to the side of his belt as well. Once again, just more bounty hunter accessories in there. And with that all said and done, let's cut to a spinny showcase where you can see him all slightly painted up, and kind of coming to life. So yeah, I'll catch you on the other end. And there we have it, ladies and gents, in his squatty glory, I guess. Now, I would actually really like to use this guy in a game of Necromunda. I think it'd be quite fun. And yeah, I could definitely see somebody using Kharadron Overlords to make an entire army. You know, maybe using the Astra Militarum rule set, you know, giving them las guns and stuff like that. You know, just buy loads of Arcanor Company and away you go. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you're actually still watching and got this far, definitely let me know in the comments below what you think of this dude. I definitely need to finish actually painting him at some point. But as always, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely do so, because I release hobby content similar to this every single week. Well, I try to, but recently life has gotten a bit busier, so you know, it's every 2-3 weeks now, but you know, I'll get back in the rhythm at some point. And also, you know, like, subscribe, all that kind of nonsense. But I do have a Patreon and a YouTube membership now as well, if you want to support the channel in that way. It's always much appreciated. And speaking about Patreons, quick little shout out. We've got Marshall's Miniatures, Irish Rock 1987, Brother Loken, and Tic Tac Doe. Now, a special thank you to you guys this month, because like I said, the content has kind of slowed down, so I kind of feel a little bit bad, but yeah, I really appreciate it that you guys are still sticking around. But yeah, I am kind of posting up hints and teasers for upcoming projects for my patrons and stuff like that, so you guys know I'm still kind of working on some stuff. But until the next video, guys, bye bye.